We welcome back to the show Mr. Craig Douglas. For this week's Educating in Michigan segment, we will be talking about cell phones in the classrooms, a huge topic that impacts everyone in education. Last week we heard Governor Gretchen Whitmer propose a ban on cell phones in schools. How do you think and why do you think this issue has made it all the way to the higher levels of government?
Well, that's a big, meaty question.
Yeah.
I appreciate being here to try and address at least my perspective on it. First of all, I'm an older guy, but I'm not against iPhones, cell phones, iPads. I think they bring us a lot of utility, but I do understand the governor's perspective on this, and I guess I can say from visiting classrooms, I have seen firsthand how kids can get focused on this and not pay attention to the teacher. Back in my day, Matt, we used to occasionally try to bring a transistor radio into class with earphones so we could listen to a ball game.
Yeah.
That didn't work out too well.
Right.
We didn't pay too much attention to the teacher. So certainly interrupts the instructional process.
Yeah, as a longtime educator, expand on that a little bit. Talk about how this not only distracts kids from the learning process, but talk about how it even plays into disruptions maybe in an emergency situation.
Yeah, if you have a situation at school where you need to put something in motion, if a student has a cell phone, places a call outside and doesn't have the information quite correct, doesn't have all the information or whatever, it could disrupt. Here's an example from when I was school superintendent. One time we had a water main break right mid-morning around 10 o'clock or so we had to dismiss early. Well, that's a pretty simple thing, it's a non-threatening thing, but we had to figure out the logistics, right? How to get the bus drivers in, the buses parked, how to instruct parents who wanted to pick up students. There were a lot of gymnastics we had to figure out, in quotes, all right? If a student placed a call to mom or dad to say, pick me up here, it might actually interrupt. Yeah, so it's a simple example, but I think that the communication processes have to be clean.
What about another top concern, the impact on a student's mental health?
I have a colleague, Kevin Schultz from Saginaw Valley State University. Conversation last week, and he said he was reading about a study that correlated social media time and student anxiety and depression. So I looked it up, and he is right. I didn't realize, but actually the Surgeon General had come out with a warning back about a year ago, warning that 3 hours or more on social media a day for an adolescent can double the risk for anxiety or depression.
Yeah.
Well, that's profound. Probably we know that intuitively, but to have that data in front of us gives us something to really take a look at. And swinging back to the governor, asking schools to ban or limit use of social media, in particular cell phones or iPhones or iPads, it does make sense that would be an issue worth debate.
Yes, and we've even covered this topic, highlighting other parts of the country where they have no cell phone days or even have banned them altogether. Any other final thoughts on how we can tackle this? Because I know a lot of parents say, that's my lifeline to my child, that I want them to have the phone, but it's important to set guidelines, right, and limits.
Exactly, and your last point triggered another thought. Many school districts have already done this.
Yeah.
Many school districts locally have already done this. So it does make sense. It can be done. It makes sense to understand the rationale behind it.
Yes. All right, if you ever have any questions for Mr. Douglas, again, we need to tap into your expertise as a longtime educator. You can send those questions by email to goodmorning@abc12.com, and as always, we appreciate your insight on different topics with Educating in Michigan.
Thank you, Matt.
Wonderful to see you.